Good morning, everybody. Hope you're doing well. Hope you had a great weekend. Some good football, good basketball. Boy, Saturday was jam packed. CFP games and some great basketball games. I had two screens going on Saturday. Anyway, hope your weekend was great. Hope you got some days off this week for Christmas. I stayed some vacation, so I got the week off. A few days next week. Good time of year right now. Good time of year. We are going to go over football and basketball. We're going to do a review and we're going to do a preview of what's coming up. We're not going to do a show later in the week because of Christmas. I got family coming in and everything. So we'll go over some things that are going to be happening here in the next few days. Um, we got a lot of news to get to. So let's get started. Hit that subscribe button down there, wherever it is, so you don't miss anything. Let's get started. North Texas, their AD, Jared Mosley, he got a new 5-year contract. So good for him. Transfer portal news. Iowa State quarterback, Rocco Beck. He's entering the transfer portal, as is Missouri quarterback, Bo Pribula. He is now entering the transfer portal. And I'm thinking maybe Rocco from Iowa State, maybe because his coach left. So I don't know if he's going to go to Penn State with him or not, but we'll see where he ends up. Uh, Remember how last week we said that media members weren't buying the alcohol factor as the reason Ohio fired head coach Brian Smith? Remember that some of the media members were doubting that can't just be the reason. Well, now it's come out he's had affairs too. Had one with an undergraduate student. I don't know what's going on with these coaches. They're popping it to the students. I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, that came out too. So that plus the alcohol thing and Brian Smith no longer coach at Ohio. Texas, they fired defensive coordinator Pete Kwiatkowski and defensive pass game coordinator Dwayne Aiken. They are bringing back Will Muschamp. Remember Will Muschamp? He was a DC there. I think under Mac Brown. I think it was under Mac Brown. Then he left, went to God, where he go? I want to say he went to Florida too, if I remember right. South Carolina. His head coach didn't do all that well, but he's back as defensive coordinator at Texas. Indiana, they gave offensive coordinator Mike Shanahan a new 3-year deal. He's going to get a raise and all that good stuff. Arizona State wide receiver Jordan Tyson, he is declared for the NFL draft. TCU quarterback Josh Hoover, transfer portal. He's going to miss the Alamo Bowl. Arizona State head coach Kenny Dillingham gets a new 5-year deal, $7.5 million a year. Sorry, Michigan, he's not going to come be your coach. Michigan State, they are set to hire Alabama co-offensive coordinator Nick Sheridan as their new offensive coordinator. But that's going to take place after Alabama's CFP run, however far they make it. Chip Lindsey called plays at Michigan this year. Well, he's leaving for Missouri. He's going to be their new offensive coordinator. Kansas, assistant basketball coach Joe Dooley was arrested for DUI and failure to stop. Bill Self suspends him for 3 weeks. Can't drink and drive, kids. Georgetown, they suspended their basketball coach, Ed Conley, for 1 game. Got pissed in the Xavier game, threw his water bottle up in the stands, hit a little kid in the head. So I don't know what kind of repercussions are going to come from that from the family, but Georgetown has suspended him for 1 game for losing his temper and doing that. Texas A&M women's volleyball, they are national champions. Congratulations to them. Beat Kentucky 3-0. Don't know if that makes up for the CFP loss, but hey, I guess it's kind of bittersweet in College Station right now. And Division II football, Ferris State won their 4th national championship in 5 years. They beat Herding 42-21. Division III FCS, they're all coming up. Their championship games are coming up soon. All right, so go back to Thursday. There are no top 25 upsets in college basketball, but Illinois State moved to 9-3, beat Southern Illinois 75-68. Murray State moved to 9-3, beat Drake 81-72. Oklahoma State, they moved to 10-1, beat Missouri, Kansas City 91-79. Cowboys had 11 more rebounds in that game than Missouri, Kansas City. Number 25, Georgia, they moved to 10-1, beat Western Carolina 112-82. Wilkerson for Georgia, 26 points. Georgia, the same. It seems like the same thing happens with them every year. Before conference play starts, they're an incredible team, ranked. But man, when they get into that conference play, they just start losing games. Now, last year, remember, they beat some top teams in conference. I want to say Kentucky was one of them, and somebody else. So they started good in January last year, but then they started fading again. We'll see what happens this year. William and Mary, they moved to 9-3. They beat Radford 96-83. Last Thursday, we had a bowl game, the Xbox Bowl. Arkansas State beat Missouri State 34-28. Arkansas State's Rayner, 288 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. Rucker, 166 receiving yards and a touchdown. It was a penalty fest, though. Arkansas State was 10 penalties for 110 yards. Missouri State, 14 penalties for 115 yards. So they were trying to see who could get the most penalties. Arkansas State finishes the year 7-6, as does Missouri State. Friday, basketball, no top 25 upsets, but Seattle did move to 10-2, beat Washington 70-66. Both these teams shot under 40% in that game. 30 combined turnovers between these two teams in that one. Cal, they moved to 11-1. They beat Morgan State 97-50. Cal's Bell, 28 points, 4 3-pointers in that game. St. Mary's is 10-2, beat Florida Atlantic 88-75. St. Mary's, Dent, he scored 24 points in that game. UCLA moved to 9-3. They beat Cal Poly 108-87. UCLA's Clark, 30 points. He hit 6 3-pointers in that game. 5-6, San Diego beat 10-2. UC San Diego 82-80. San Diego's Johnson, 23 points, 6 rebounds, 7 assists. Lane came off the bench and scored 17. They shot 45% from the field, hit 12 3-pointers in that one. UC San Diego, Dingent, 18.7 rebounds. Bede, 14.7 rebounds. They shot 51% from the field. Number 10, BYU, they moved to 11-1, beat Abilene Christian 85-67. BYU's Dibansta, 35 points, nice game for him. Belmont, 12-1, beat UC Irvine 84-58. Belmont, 52% from the field. They hit 13 threes in that one. Baylor moved to 8-2. They beat Alcorn State 113-56. Carr for Baylor, 24 points in that game. They shot 65% from the field. LSU moved to 10-1. They beat Southeast Louisiana 78-65. Villanova moved to 9-2. They beat Wisconsin by 10 in overtime. Wisconsin, 16 turnovers in that one. Tulsa moved to 7-1 or 11-1. Beat Western Kentucky 82-81. Akron moved to 9-3. They beat Eastern Michigan 93-72. Johnson for Akron, 25 points. High Point, they moved to 10-3. They beat LaSalle 84-72. Martinez for High Point, 24 points in that one. Seton Hall moved to 11-1. Beat Providence 72-67. Simpkins for Seton Hall, 22 points in that game. Bowl games, football games on Friday. Myrtle Beach Bowl, Kennesaw State's march to 11 total wins for the season fell flat. Lost to Western Michigan 41-6. Western Michigan's Lowry, 120 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. Buckley, 174 on the ground and a touchdown. Kennesaw State, 4 turnovers. Offensive line gave up 5 sacks. Both these teams finished 10-4. Also, Western Michigan's Pope, 75-yard pick 6. Fisher had a 47-yard scoop and score. So the mistakes kept Kennesaw State from getting 11 wins. Gasparilla Bowl, NC State beat Memphis 31-7. Bailey for the Wolfpack. I don't have those passing yards down for some reason. That's crazy. Threw for 2 touchdowns and ran for a touchdown, though. Grimes and Hoffman receiving touchdowns. Both these teams only had 17 first downs in this game. CFP first round. Wow. I knew this was gonna be entertaining, like the last two Alabama Oklahoma games, but damn, Sooners, man, came out on fire, 17-0 in the second. Looked like a rout was on the way again. Oklahoma wasn't going to be denied. Then they stalled out. Alabama scored 27 straight to take the lead, never looked back. Simpson for Alabama, 232 yards, 2 touchdowns to Brooks. OU defense did give them some fits, though, all night. Sacked him 4 times, pressures on him. Hill had a rushing TD. Brown had a 50-yard pick six for Alabama. Only had 12 first downs. 2 for 12 on third down, 260 total yards. That was kind of a theme, I guess you could say, on these CFP games. It's like the losers had just as good post-game stats or better, but still lost. It's crazy. It's crazy how it worked out this weekend. Mateer for Oklahoma, 307 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. Bama defense gave him fits, 5 sacks and an INT. Burks, 107 receiving yards and a touchdown. Kicker Sandell, 1 for 3 on field goals, including missing 2 key field goals towards the ends of the game. I think he's the Lou Groza Award winner too. I think I may be wrong on that, but man, 1 for 3 on field goals, 2 down the stretch. That was just crazy. See, and they were 7 for 18 on third down, 362 total yards. Yeah, if you look, like I said, if you look at these post-game numbers, you would say Oklahoma won the game, but crazy. Anyway, good season for Oklahoma. Didn't finish how they wanted, but they finished 10-3. So get back to work on next year, I guess. Moving on to Saturday basketball. Number 1 Arizona, they moved to 11-0, beat San Diego State 68-45. That was a 1-point game at halftime, and Arizona turned it on in the second. Number 19, Texas Tech, who was kind of short-handed on players, beat number 3 Duke by 1, 82-81. Anderson for the Red Raiders, 27 points. He hit 5 3-pointers. They shot 55% from the field. They were actually down 17 points in the second half. Came back to beat Duke. Duke's Boozer, 23 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists. They shot 52% from the field. Number 6 Purdue beat number 21 Auburn, 88-60. Kaufman for Purdue, Kaufman ran, 18 points. They shot 56% from the field, 100% from the free throw line, hit 12 3-pointers. Auburn's Overton, 22 points. They only shot 36% from the field. Number 23, Virginia. They moved to 10-1. They beat Maryland 80-72. Hall for the Cavaliers, 20 points. Number 8, Houston beat number 14, Arkansas, 94-85. Houston Sharp, 22 points. They shot 52% from the field, hit 11 3-pointers. Acuff was the guy for Arkansas, 27 points. They shot 49% from the field. They had 12 total turnovers in that game. Number 12, North Carolina moved to 11-1, beat Ohio State 71-70. Wilson for the Tar Heels, 20 points, 15 rebounds. Nice game for him. 8-4 Kentucky beat number 22 St. John's 78-66. Kentucky's Owa, 20 points. They shot 46% from the field, grabbed 12 more rebounds. Hopkins for St. John's, 13 points. They only shot 33% from the field. That is nuts. Number 9, Michigan State moved to 11-1. They beat Oakland 79-70. Carr for Michigan State, 22 points. They grabbed 21 more rebounds at Oakland. Number 11, Louisville. They moved to 10-2, beat Montana 94-54. Not a good weekend for the Montana Grizzlies. Not a good weekend. Louisville hit 12 3-pointers, grabbed 22 more rebounds, 13 steals in that game. Nevada moved to 9-3. They beat Boise State 81-66. New Mexico, they moved to 10-2. They beat San Jose State 88-65. Both those teams shot 11 3-pointers apiece. Stanford beat Colorado 77-68. Both of them are 10-2. St. Thomas, Minnesota, they moved to 10-4. Beat UC Riverside 92-78. Minsale, I think that's how you say his name, from St. Thomas, Minnesota, 27 points in that game. Cal Baptist moved to 10-3, beat Sacramento State 74-67. Cal Baptist is Dong. I think that's how you say his name. Ndong, Dong or Nong. Anyway, 17 rebounds, man. That's nice. Iowa moved to 10-2, beat Bucknell 94-39. Iowa shot 60% from the field, 17 more rebounds. Bucknell, 25 turnovers in that game. Richmond moved to 10-2, beat Citadel 80-56. Central Florida, they are 10-1. They were 10-1, beat Florida Gulf Coast 102-80. 49-49 at halftime in that game. Central Florida came back. They hit 19 three-pointers in that game. That is just incredible. Also grabbed 16 more rebounds, so there you go. 4-9, Loyola Chicago beat 9-4 Santa Clara, 80-78. Dotson for Loyola Chicago, 26 points in that game. Utah Valley's 10-3. They beat Bethesda. I don't know if I've ever heard of them. Bethesda. Anyway, beat them 109-48. Holcomb for Utah Valley, 16 points, 15 rebounds. Georgia Southern, they moved to 10-5. They beat James Madison 96-92. Not a good Saturday for James Madison also. Georgia Southern's white, 25 points in that game. Bowling Green, they moved to 9-3, beat Ohio by 10. 7-4 Grand Canyon, beat 9-3 Wyoming. Grand Canyon 7-4. That's kind of crazy. They've had a damn good basketball team the last few years, and they're only 7-4 this year. That's just crazy. 8-6 Texas State beat 9-4 South Alabama, 67-65. South Alabama led by 14 at halftime. Blew it. Miami of Ohio, they moved to 12-0, undefeated, beat Ball State 86-77. Alston for Miami of Ohio, 26 points. He hit 13 three-pointers. Kent State, is that right? 13 three-pointers? 10, no, that can't be right because that would be more than 26 points. Unless this team, maybe I didn't write it down right. The team hit 13 three-pointers. 6-8, that doesn't add up. Anyway, Kent State, they are 10-2, beat UMass by 10. 9-5 Howard beat 10-2 UNC Wilmington by 1. Harris for Howard, 18 points, 11 rebounds. 7-7 Denver beat 93 Northern Colorado, 86-79. Denver's Nelson, 32 points in that game, 3 steals. Utah State, they moved to 10-1, beat 9-3 Colorado State, 100-58. Utah State, 64% from the field, hit 12 three-pointers, 29 more rebounds than Colorado State. Virginia Tech, they are 11-2, beat Elon, 82-81. Hansberry for Vatech, 20 points, 14 rebounds. Indiana, they moved to 9-3, beat Chicago State by 20. Indiana hit 15 three-pointers in that game. St. Bonaventure moved to 11-2. They beat Lemoyne 92-81. St. Bonaventure, 13 three-pointers. Rob Morris moved to 10-4. Beat St. Francis, Pennsylvania by 7. Buffalo, they moved to 10-2. Beat Western Michigan 88-71. Let's see. Moving on to football. Like I said, crazy that the losers in the CFP games had good or even better stats than the winners. It's just crazy. This one here, being an Aggie fan, y'all have heard me say I don't count my chickens until they're hatched now. So it wasn't going to surprise me if they lost this game, which they did. Lost to Miami 10-3. Beck 103 passing yards, touchdown pass to Tony. Fletcher ran for 172 on the ground, just horrible run defense by the Aggies. Reed, though, 237 passing yards, 0 touchdowns, 2 INTs. He was the leading rusher at 27 yards, so they could not run the ball against Miami. Craver, 92 receiving yards. Okay, so this is it. Miami, 12 first downs in this game. Aggies, 21 first downs. Miami, 3 for 12 on third down. A&M, 8 for 18 on third down. Miami, 278 total yards. Aggies, 326. If you look at those numbers and then watch the game, you say, oh, the Aggies won. But, it's like that all the games. It's crazy. Miami's defense, 3 turnovers, 7 sacks. Mistakes and not winning in the trenches pretty much cost A&M this game. Because Reed had great numbers. I mean, 237 passing yards, but the 2 turnovers, no touchdowns, that kind of did him in. He had 2 interceptions and a fumble in this game. Kicking game wasn't good for either team either. Aggies finished their season 11-2, so that's good. And all the guys had good attitudes afterwards in the post game interviews. If you saw them, they're like, "We're gonna learn from this, and we'll move on. We'll build on. We built on it from last year. We'll build on it from this year." So at least they got a good attitude about it. Number 6 Ole Miss beat number 20 Tulane 41-10. I thought Tulane would put up a better fight than this, but they did. Chambliss, 282 passing yards and a touchdown. Ran for a couple of touchdowns. Lacey, 87 rushing yards and a touchdown. Retzlaff for Tulane, 306 passing yards, touchdown, and an interception. Reed had a TD catch. McClure led the way on the ground, 84 rushing yards. Ole Miss, 30 first downs, 3 for 10 on third down, 2 for 2 on fourth down, 497 total yards, 1 penalty for 5 yards. Nice. Tulane, 20 first downs, 5 for 13 on third down, 0 for 4 on fourth down, 421 total yards, 3 turnovers in that one. Poor Tulane. Their defense in the first just let the Rebels jump out all over them, 14-0. The defense played better as the game went on, but still too much. Ole Miss was too much for them. Great passing games for both of them. Both of them had a great passing game. Rushing games for both of them. So there you go. Number 5 Oregon beat number 24 James Madison 51-34. Oregon's Moore, 313 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, but he also ran for a touchdown. Benson, 119 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns. James Madison's Barnett, 273 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, also ran for a touchdown. DeGener, 90 receiving yards and a touchdown. Oregon, 22 first downs, 3 for 7 on third down, 514 total yards, 2 turnovers, 5 penalties for 71 yards. James Madison, 23 first downs, 9 for 22 on third down, 4 for 4 on fourth down, 509 total yards, 13 penalties for 113 yards. Like I said, Oregon jumped out 34-6 at halftime. James Madison, though, they started to make a game of it. They give them credit. They came out fighting in the half. Actually outscored Oregon in the second half, 28-17. So something was said in that locker room. They got it on. But that first half, poor defensive play. Offense wasn't all that good. That's kind of what did them in there. FCS semifinals. Montana State beat their rival, Montana, 48-23. Montana State led by 4 points hitting into the halftime. Then all of a sudden they exploded, went on a 21-0 run, just buried Montana. Lamson, 2 touchdown passes in the fourth, and Grabby had a 40-yard pick 6. Lamson also ran for 2 touchdowns earlier in the game. So Montana State moved on. Illinois State beat Villanova 30-14. Rittenhouse for Illinois State. The guy's a great quarterback. If you haven't seen him, watch the FCS game, championship game coming up. I mean, he's a damn good quarterback. 251 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. Dawson, 155 on the ground and a touchdown. Sabakowitz, 97 receiving yards, 2 touchdowns. That sets up your FCS national championship game. Illinois State versus Montana State. January 5th, I think it's on Monday. 6:30 p.m. on ESPN. That ought to be a pretty good one. Yesterday basketball. Stephen F. Austin, they moved to 9-2. They beat Dallas 103-55. Number 13, Vanderbilt beat 9-4 Wake Forest 98-67. Vanderbilt's Nickel, 26 points. He hit 8 3-pointers. Miles behind him, 17 points. They were 59% from the field. They hit 16 3-pointers. Calvin for Wake Forest, 20 points, 12 rebounds. Harris behind him, 19.6 rebounds. They only shot 35% from the field. They were 25 for 32 from the free throw line, so they did good there. But 17 turnovers for Wake Forest. Baylor moved to 9-2. They beat Southern 111-67. Baylor's Yosufa, I think that's how you say his name. 28 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists. Nice game for him. Baylor hit 17 3-pointers in that game. Hofstra beat Quinnipiac 74-66. Both of them are 9-4. Number 23, Florida. They moved to 8-4, beat Colgate by 30. Florida grabbed 30 more rebounds than Colgate. 7-6, Pitt beat 8-4 Penn State, 80-46. Pitt's Sulipa. Is that his name? Sulipa? 28 points. He hit 5 3-pointers in that one. 7-6, Charleston beat 9-5 Northern Kentucky, 85-74. Counter for Charleston, 26 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists. SMU, they moved to 10-2, beat Central Arkansas 99-82. SMU's Miller, 23 points, followed by Pierre Jr., who had 21 points. Number 6, Alabama, beat 8-4 Kennesaw State, 92-81. Bama's Sherrill, 21 points, 7 rebounds. Murray State moved to 10-3. They beat Valparaiso, 85-79. Oklahoma State, they moved to 11-1, beat Cal State Fullerton, 94-89. Roy for the Cowboys, 22 points. He hit 6 3-pointers. Notre Dame fell to 9-4. They were beaten by 8-6 Purdue Fort Wayne, 72-69. Purdue Fort Wayne's Hadnot, 29 points, 6 rebounds. George Mason moved to 11-1. They beat Loyola Maryland, 86-79. Mini for George Mason, 26 points. St. Louis, they moved to 11-1. Beat New Hampshire, 93-79. Clemson moved to 10-3. They beat Cincinnati, 68-65. Clemson only beat them by 3, but they led by 20 at halftime. So Cincinnati started marching back in the second half there. Oregon State, they moved to 7-6. They beat 9-4. Arizona State, 78-75. Lake for Oregon State, 23 points, 9 assists, 3 steals in that one. Number 20, Tennessee moved to 9-3. They beat Gardner-Webb, 94-52. USC, they moved to 12-1. They beat UC Santa Cruz, 102-63. Texas A&M, they moved to 9-3. They beat Eastern Texas A&M, 118-77. Agee for the Aggies had 21 points. TCU is 9-3. They beat Florida A&M 80-56. Miami, they moved to 11-2. Beat North Florida 105-67. Hurricanes Donaldson 21 points, 21 points and 9 assists. That's if somebody scores 91 points in a basketball game, make that guy president. Number 2, Michigan is 11-0. Beat LaSalle 102-50. Michigan hit 14 3-pointers in that game. Number 5, UConn moved to 12-1, beat DePaul 72-54. That's a 3-point game at halftime. Illinois State, good weekend for Illinois State. They moved to 10-3, beat Indiana State by 20. Cal won the second one, beat Columbia a few days before. Well, they moved to 12-1. Oh, I'm sorry, I forget who they beat. Anyway, they moved to 11-1. Who they play, I forget. Anyway, one Sunday, yesterday, 74-56. I'll get it out. Number 7, Gonzaga is 12-1. They beat Oregon 91-82. Gonzaga Smith, 21.7 assists. Number 4, Iowa State. They moved to 12-0. Beat Long Beach State 91-60. Iowa State's see if I can say his name, Mosalovic. I think it's Mosalovic. 27 points. He hit 7 3-pointers in that game. And North Dakota State fell to 10-4. Beaten by 8-5, UC Irvine by 1. Number 15, Nebraska, they are still undefeated, 12-0, beat North Dakota 78-55. All right, upcoming. Like I said, not going to do a show later in the week because of Christmas and family coming in, relatives. So these are some interesting games coming up over the next few days. Basketball today. There's a lot of games today. There is, but only really a few stand out. 5 p.m. on BTN, Siena versus Indiana. Both of them are 9-3. 7 p.m. on ESPN Plus, 8-3 Davidson versus number 17 Kansas. 7 p.m. on FS1, number 18 Illinois versus 10-2 Missouri. That's probably going to be a pretty good game. And then 9 p.m. on ESPN Plus, 9-2 Northern Iowa versus 10-2 St. Mary's. That'll probably be a pretty good one too. You got a bowl game today. Idaho Potato Bowl. Washington State versus Utah State. Both 6-6. And for some reason, I don't have the time and channel, but you can look it up if you want to watch it. Tomorrow, Tuesday, several games, but some of the ones stick out in basketball. 1 p.m. on ESPN Plus, 8-4 Florida Atlantic versus 10-1 Central Florida. 6 p.m. on Peacock, 9-2 Villanova versus 11-1 Seton Hall. That might be a pretty good one too. Football tomorrow, 1 p.m. on ESPN, Boca Raton Bowl, Toledo versus Louisville, both 8-4. Remember Louisville, man, they started off on fire. People talking about them, and then they slowly started falling as the year went on. But ended up 8-4. They might be able to make it 9-4. We'll see what happens. 4:30 on ESPN, New Orleans Bowl, 8-4 Western Kentucky versus 7-5 Southern Miss. You look at the matchup, you're like, eh. But I'll tell you what, every year that New Orleans Bowl seems to be a pretty damn good game. It's pretty entertaining every year. So maybe check that one out. 8 p.m. on ESPN, the Frisco Bowl. This one ought to be pretty interesting. 10-3 UNLV versus 8-4 Ohio. So UNLV, who's been a damn good team the last couple of years, just fallen a little bit short in some areas. Playing Ohio, who's a damn good team, who just had all kinds of chaos with their coach. How do the Bobcats come out and respond against the great UNLV team? That might be worth watching right there to see what happens there. Christmas Eve, no basketball games, but we've got the Hawaii Bowl like usual. 7-5 Cal versus 8-4 Hawaii. Might be a pretty good game. Cal is very much improved. Has some close losses, especially in the last couple of years. Hawaii is going in the right direction. Timmy Chang, their old quarterback, he's the coach now. He's really moving that program in a great direction. I mean, they're 8-4. And they're playing there at home, so I wouldn't be surprised if they win. But like I said, Cal has made a lot of improvements in the last couple of years. So, hey, while the women are all in the room by the Christmas tree talking, you can be in the TV room with the guys of the family, having some adult beverages, watching college football. Doesn't get any better than that, does it? Christmas Day, no college basketball or football games. I know there's other sports on, I think NBA and stuff. Friday, I was looking at this schedule and I was like, really? 26, no basketball was listed when I looked. That may have been wrong because it seems like there would be, but I don't know. Football, 12 p.m., ESPN. Game Above Sports Bowl. 7-5 Central Michigan versus 6-6 Northwestern. Northwestern, boy, they had to fight and claw to get to a bowl game. 3:30 on ESPN, the Rate Bowl. This ought to be pretty good. 9-3 New Mexico versus 7-5 Minnesota. New Mexico, remember how we talked about last year? Those guys should have been 8, 9, 10 win team, but they just couldn't finish games. They improved on that. 9-3 now. Minnesota, I just don't know what to make of Minnesota. Some games this year look good, and a lot of games, they just look middle of the road to bad. You know New Mexico would love to beat a Big Ten team in the bowl game. It might happen. It might happen. So that might be one worth checking out. And then 7 p.m. ESPN. First Responder Bowl, 7-1 Florida International versus 6-6 UTSA. And then coming up on Saturday, you got 8 bowl games to choose from. That and some basketball this weekend. That is it. That's going to be it. Like I said, we'll be back next Sunday or Monday to review everything that happened and preview everything. We got, bowl games, CFPs coming up next week. Y'all have a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, whatever you celebrate. Have a great time with family and friends. If you're traveling, if you're driving, be safe, be careful, watch out, because you all know the freaking morons are all over the roads now. I don't know if driver's ed classes suck now or what, but there are just complete idiots out there on the road. Please make it to your destination safe and then make it back home safe. Just watch out for the other guy because they are morons out there. Anyway, Merry Christmas. Have a great holiday. Have a great time. We will be back next Sunday or Monday.